Mosquitoes. There is nothing like a mosquito to ruin an enjoyable summer night. They buzz, they itch, and they are everywhere. Not only are they a nuisance, but they are also the #1 deadliest animal in the world. Mosquitoes kill around 750,000 to a million people a year through diseases transmitted through their bite. But do you know what would make them even more terrifying? Imagine them 1 foot in length, with a wingspan of up to 3 feet, and ironically combine them with one of their predators, the bat. Enter the stirge. The stirge is a frequent favorite for dungeon masters, as their threat level increases with their number, making them a viable pick at any level during a campaign. And what's more fun than watching your players trying to detach these suckers from their backs? In this Monster Spotlight, we'll be taking a closer look at everything you need to know about the stirge, its lore, its ecology, and biology. Let's take a look inside the 2014 5e Monster Manual to build our foundation before we see why it's not only a fan favorite, but also a lot of fun to play. Did you know that a lot of creatures and elements found in fantasy have been inspired by or taken from world history? Hi everyone, my name is Brett, and welcome to the Fantasy Historian. On this channel, we do monster spotlights from Dungeons & Dragons and their counterparts in history that inspired them, as well as any other interesting connections we can find. If that sounds like your cup of tea, pull up a seat and toss a like and subscribe to The Storyteller if you're willing to do so. Thank you all, and now back to the stirge. When you open up the monster manual to the entry on the stirge, you probably notice something right away. The lore to the succubus/incubus is more descriptive than the whole stirge block. The 2014 manual and the 2024 manual really throw the stirge under the bus. Don't worry though, we will greatly expand on this. Reading the lore, this horrid flying creature looks like a cross between a large bat and an oversized mosquito. Its legs end in sharp pincers, and its long, needle-like proboscis slashes the air as it seeks its next meal. And as a side note, in both the 1st and 2nd edition monster manuals, they are likened to birds, with 1e mentioning feathers and 2e Monsters Compendium showing more bird-like features. My guess is that the stirge was originally inspired by the Greek and Roman Strix. The plural form is Stirges, a vampiric owl that hung upside down and fed on babies. We will circle back to that later. Stirges feed on the blood of living creatures, attaching and draining them slowly. Although they pose little danger in small numbers, packs of stirges can be a formidable threat, reattaching as quickly as their weakening prey can pluck them off. Blood drain. A stirge attacks by landing on a victim, finding a vulnerable spot and plunging its proboscis into the flesh, while using its pincer legs to latch onto the victim. Once the stirge has sated itself, it detaches and flies off to digest its meal. Alright, let's take a look at the stats of this monster. The stirge is a tiny beast that is unaligned. It hunts to survive, and not for pleasure. The stats all seem quite terrible, except for the dexterity. I mean, look at that health. This thing might keel over if I sneeze. What it lacks in health though, it makes up for in speed. Combine its dexterity with its flight distance of 40 feet, and we have a very agile and quick monster. It might be killed at the touch of a blade, but good luck trying to hit it while it's in the air, and in the dark no less. Its AC is also quite good for a CR 1/8 creature, and it also has dark vision up to 60 feet and a passive perception of 9, which is 1 point shy below the average. It only has the one action, Blood Drain. Melee weapon attack plus 5 to hit, reach of 5 feet, 1 creature. Hit 5 1d4 plus 3 piercing damage, and the stirge attaches to the target. While attached, the stirge doesn't attack. Instead, at the start of each of the stirge's turns, the target loses 5 1d4 plus 3 hit points due to blood loss. The stirge can detach itself by spending 5 feet of its movement. It does so after it drains 10 hit points of blood from the target or the target dies. And that's interesting because it's still attached to an unconscious player. The target has to die. A creature, including the target, can use its action to detach the Stirge. In the 2024 Monster Manual, the enduring life drain damage is changed to 5 2d4 necrotic damage at the start of each Stirge's turn. Now, in order to really see how fun this monster is, we need to take a look at how Stirges hunt. Like bats, Stirges are found in a colony, hanging upside down in dark areas, most notably in caverns, old castles, jungles, forests, etc. There are different names for the colony depending on their size. A colony has 2 to 4 Stirges. A flock has 5 to 8. A storm has 9 to 14. Or a swarm, which has 15 to 30 max. Once dusk arrives, the Stirges awaken, spread their wings, and fly out in different directions by groups of 3, searching for some warm blood. To do this, Stirges uses their dark vision and acute sense of smell. Once located, Stirges will communicate through calls and or wagging their proboscis. If it is a weak prey, they will attack it together, swooping in to attack the most vulnerable area that is easy to hit, which is usually the back. If the prey is too strong for the group, 2 will stay to give chase and harass, while the 3rd is sent back to the rest of the swarm for some reinforcements. Once the cavalry arrives, it's time to hunt for real. The Stirges move in unison, using their speed, maneuverability, and numbers to their advantage. Once the target has been acquired, they dive, latching on with their 4 hooked claws. If they miss, they deftly return high in the sky and circle back for another attack. Once latched, their proboscis acts like a dagger, piercing the skin, and an anticoagulant is released to stop blood from clotting. Then, they slurp. Up to 6 Stirges can fit comfortably onto a medium-sized creature at a time. However, if the DM is feeling generous, after the 3rd Stirge has attached itself, a cumulative -1 to hit can be applied for each Stirge trying to attach to the same prey, simulating the idea of the prey having less weak spots to attack while the others are in the way. Once attached, they will not let go until they have drunk their full. Not all is lost though. Players can get the Stirges to detach when they are killed or grappled off, but it comes at a cost. In the older manuals, when a player misses a Stirge that is attached to a party member, another roll is required against the AC of the player. If successful, that player has swung and missed, hitting the player instead, doing half the damage rounded down. If a player wishes to grapple with the Stirge, the Dungeon Master can allow a strength check or a similar saving throw for each claw. Just note that once attached, Stirges have a racial bonus on grapple checks. The 3.5 Monster Manual gives it a +12 racial bonus. Oh yes, this is no easy tussle. Stirges dig into the skin or armor of their prey. 4 dice rolls are required, 1 for each claw, causing 1 to 2 points of damage as they are torn out, adding up to 8 damage or 48 total points of damage to get rid of 6 of them. This is where the mayhem ensues and why Stirges are so much fun. How will the party react? Risk hitting each other or try pulling them off and taking the damage? But wait, there's more. Oh, you thought we were done, did you? Remember how I mentioned that mosquitoes are the most dangerous animal in the world because of the diseases they transfer? None of the monster manuals pick up on this, but both ecology sections in Dragon Magazine issues number 83 and number 239 do. Pathfinder and the 1E Bestiary does as well. You see, Stirges don't prey on just humans, but other warm-blooded mammals as well, particularly domestic ones. Sheep, cattle, horses, you name it. Any disease can be living inside the Stirge and transported swiftly to you at a low cost of your blood. The Dragon Magazine number 83 gives the Stirge a 5% chance, while Pathfinder gives it a 10% chance to pass on a disease. As to what particular diseases is up to the Dungeon Master. It should be noted that stirges are immune to many diseases and poisons. So, how about that CR of 1/8? Not all hope is lost, however. Stirges have some significant weaknesses. After stirges have gorged themselves on blood, they become lethargic, bumbling their way through the air on their way home. Well, great, but that's after they have fed. Aha! But the trick lies in the fact that stirges will feed on other animals too. Along a similar thought, if the bodies of prey are found, players can track stirges to their home and attack while they sleep. Stirges sleep for 7 days after a meal, so the party has 7 days after a meal to track them down. This can be tricky, as stirges are always on the move, following domestic herds and vulnerable caravans of travelers, unless the area within 1 mile of their temporary home has enough food to sustain them for a while. Wear lots of armor to cover every inch of your body that you can when hunting them. The back, chest, and extremities are the first to be hit in an attack. Lastly, stirges and many other swarm creatures are vulnerable to area of effect magic, in particular, fire. Blast them out of the air or hold a flame to one attached to a party member, and it will release its grip. Alright, that's enough about combat. Let's talk about reproduction. Depending on the manual, stirge lay 4 to 12 eggs like birds, or give live birth like bats in litters of up to 3 babies in a gestation period of 6 months. They reproduce all year long, carrying babies on their backs or letting them feed on the blood-rich guano. Yum. In 7 months, the cute little babies will be full-grown, blood-sucking adults. Ever want a stirge as a pet? Well, it's said that vampire sorcerers will breed them to help cover their tracks, and field swarms of them in their armies. As you might imagine, it takes a lot of blood to breed them. In the 4E monster manual, it is also said that lizard folk druids will attend to several storms of stirges, ready to fight on their behalf. Any other creatures smart enough to breed them can do so, which leads us into the other areas stirges are found. Stirges can be found in swamps, deserts, and jungles. The desert and jungle stirges are different variations with their own perks. A jungle stirge is bigger and contains poison, but are clumsier due to their size, making them easier to hit out of the sky. Desert stirges are smaller, but have a burrow ability allowing for one attack of surprise before the battle begins. To end things off, let's briefly revisit that connection to history I mentioned about the Strix, as this can be used to add some historical flavor into our games, as well as to see how it inspired the creation of the Stirge. The purpose and form of the Strix changes depending on the source and time period. In Greek mythology, Olophanti gave birth to twin half-bear, half-human sons that hunted other humans. She was cursed along with her sons, all of them turning into different birds. Olophanti turning into the Strix, an owl that hung upside down like a bat. She neither ate nor drank, but cried during the night, becoming an omen of impending war. As the centuries moved on, the Strix maintained the owl appearance, the bat behavior, and the screech, but no longer stayed as an omen, becoming a dangerous predator itself. Once the sun dipped beneath the horizon, the Strix would awaken, hunting for a human baby to feed on while everyone slept. This Roman conception was further changed by Ovid at the beginning of the 1st century, mentioning that Striges were also witches in owl form, hunting for prey during the night, or human-owl variation like a harpy. The witch embedded itself in the region, and words today still reflect that. Striga, Strisga, and Strigoi, to name a few, are all various terms stemming from the word, and can mean witches, demons, and vampires. Other than natural encounters, I really like the idea of vampires, and in this case witches, breeding stirges. Adding a mastermind behind these monsters is a terrifying idea, especially if that mastermind is able to deal with a spellcaster. Thank you for watching and or listening. I hope you all enjoyed this video and will stick around for some more monster fun. See you all in the next one.